Welcome back to Sonic Adventure. Last time we started off Big's campaign, and now we're going to be heading into his third stage, Emerald Coast. Big actually has more stages than Amy, the guy who was supposed to be like the Sega's test for a fishing game, has more stages than a probably main character who appeared in a previous game. But whatever. Froggy is very easily found in this stage. Again, pretty close to where you start, although this time he's under some ice. He's to the left of this, I forget the name of it. Light tower? Shoot, I don't remember the name. But, he's really close, so you can catch him really easily. In the other stages, Big went through areas that Sonic also went through in his stages, and that's true in this too. But you probably won't notice it immediately because the music is different. In the other stages it was the same as when Sonic was going through them. But in this one there's a more relaxed theme for when Big is going through. I don't know why they felt the need to change the music. I like the Emerald Coast theme, but whatever. And for some reason, when Big is in the water, the life raft kind of like swells and then shrinks if you're not doing the dancing animation that he's doing right now.
Froggy?
And this time we actually get a story reason as to why Froggy got taken. Gamma just kind of zoomed in out of nowhere and stole him. Like with Knuckles though, Gamma is gonna lead us back to Eggman's base, where we are able to board the egg carrier. This, I guess, explains how Big got to the egg carrier while Sonic was there. But Big didn't really run into Knuckles. In fact, I think Knuckles is like the only character that Big doesn't run into. At least in terms of his story, because in Amy's story she doesn't run into Big, but in Big's story you get that cameo-ish appearance of Amy.
Smells like Froggy's around somewhere.
Apparently Big can sniff out Froggy. Those are some odd sniffing noises, by the way. But now we get to go through Hot Shelter. Again, a stage that Sonic doesn't go through for some reason. In terms of Big's version of the stage, for one thing, you can't move around while on the elevator. I don't know why, but until it gets to the bottom, you're just stuck. Once it is down here though, you don't have to push any, well, not push, rotate any switches in order for doors to open. You just gotta run yourself into them, and then they'll open automatically for you. We're going through a bit of the stage as, you know, as what Amy went through, but we don't really have to go through all of it. In fact, we're coming pretty close to Big's end of the stage. It's this area right here where we flooded the room with water. We can see Froggy kind of just swimming in this aquarium area. I think this stage has a bunch of badniks as well. There was a robot fish in Emerald Coast, but in here there are like chompers, like the actual badniks in the stage. And you can catch them if you so desire. I'm not gonna because I don't have to. I'm looking for my frog friend. And he's who I'm gonna catch after getting an extra life and some rings. See those 4 Eggman panels? He's pretty close to that. Just a bit to the left of it. For some reason, he's to the left of a lot of things. Like the lighthouse, I finally remembered the word. And those panels there, which right below you can see the sort of vent, I'll call it, where the water came out from. Now that we have Froggy in our sights though, it's just a matter of waiting for him to get near your fishing rod and then him biting onto it and then you catching him.
Something's biting.
This went so much more smoothly than like Legend of Zelda fishing. And oddly, I was kind of expecting to have a bit more trouble with this than I actually did, because a lot of people will complain about Big's campaign, how it's needless and not understandable in terms of how you catch the fish. But reading the instructions, just kind of exploring, really makes it easy to finish the stage. Honestly, kind of like with Amy, it's not really intrusive, and
Not too bad.
it might be a bit fun if you just kind of turn your brain off. Maybe
Yes.
have a cup of chocolate milk while you're fishing for your friend. For some reason, they're playing the Tikal music. What's going on, game?
Huh?
And of course,
That's
we're gonna get warped back in time. But we have, again, a case where gameplay Tikal and story Tikal appear at the same time. There was the one behind us that was supposed to give us the hint to drain the water. And then the one that was swirling around us, telling us, well, not telling us, but taking us to the past. I don't know why Tikal chose Big for the whole time warping thing. Knuckles is understandable. He's the knuckle-headed last echidna, so she of course would feel some sort of kinship with him. Sonic and Tails, they're heroes, so they're obviously gonna be some prime candidates for telling the backstory. Amy and Big, not so much. Amy's just kind of, I don't know. I didn't comment on it during Amy's playthrough, but she didn't need to get shown this stuff either. And Big, especially not, because he's just not grasping the situation at all. Tikal does talk with Chaos here. At least it looks like she's talking with Chaos, because the body of water causes ripples as she talks to it, showing that it's listening and probably responding. And she keeps talking about the 7 Chaoses and Chaos Emeralds, but again, those things are flippin' huge. Those are super emeralds, alright? The Chaos Emeralds that we have in game are so tiny. Anyway, that's just like a nitpicky thing. Now that we have our froggy friend, we can finally get out of this place. Although, not very easily, because the ship is kind of falling as we speak.
I don't know who would bother to save us both.
We are going to get to the top of the ship, and we are going to talk to, well, not talk to, confront Chaos 6, as everyone else seems to. Well, Sonic, Knuckles, and Big are the only characters that play with Chaos 6, I'll say. Because it's not really a boss fight, and we'll see why that is a bit later. But Eggman apparently has a monorail. It couldn't activate previously because the ship was in emergency mode. Honestly, it still should be in emergency mode because it's falling, but whatever. We can take it up the egg carrier, and we need to head to where Chaos 6 was hanging out. Of course, makes sense because Sonic was there and he saw Big. That's how we unlocked Big. Chaos is kind of there by himself, just dancing around though. This explains where Chaos got his 6th Chaos Emerald, with Eggman taking the one from the bird and Chaos getting the one from this frog here. Froggy, I should say. He's not just a frog, he's a friend. That's how Chaos gets all his Chaos Emeralds into him. As we saw before, Froggy got possessed by Chaos, I'll say. So he's got to do his bidding, barf up that yellow Chaos Emerald. And also something a bit odd. When Chaos attacked Froggy, Froggy grew a tail. Apparently this whole time, Chaos was supposed to be having a tail this whole time. So, I think a lot of his other forms were supposed to have tails, but they ended up not having them. Excuse me. Anyway, Froggy decides to jump into Chaos to become one with him. He loses the tail, but he gets to exist with this super powerful being, I guess, and also the super powerful being gets a tail, with which you may attack Sonic and Knuckles and such. Speak of the devil, Sonic's here. Of course, Sonic being the hero that he is, he's gotta save our friend Froggy, right? I would not like him to freeze Froggy though, because, well, I honestly don't think that's a pleasant time, being frozen.
Don't worry, Pally.
So, he's your friend, eh? No.
Also, I love
I'll get him back.
how Big calls Froggy his Poliwag pal or something like that. Well, I'd say his... Is it Poliwag? I think it is. I'm getting confused with the Pokemon Poliwhirl, so don't blame me. This is Big's final boss, and his only boss. We have to fish out Froggy from within Chaos. Chaos has some of the same moves that he's had from before. He'll walk around. He'll try to move more quickly. He will attack you with his tail as well. One thing he will not do is do his suction attack. At least I haven't seen him do the suction attack. Our goal is to aim the fishing rod into Chaos and then fish Froggy out. Honestly, I'm doing it wrong. At least I think I am. Because I'm trying to snipe Froggy out of him. What you should be doing is getting close and trying to get Froggy out, like, not at point blank range, but pretty close. Close enough for him to knock some rings out of you if he does walk into you. But it's a pretty one and done thing. You catch Froggy, and that's the end of the boss fight. Sonic, I guess, does the rest. Also, Knuckles does some of the rest as well, because as we know from before, Sonic doesn't actually take out Chaos 6. He comes back and then Knuckles takes him out for realsies.
Hooray!
Not too bad of a boss fight. It's a little
I won't let them take
tricky
you away again.
figuring out how to get Froggy out of Chaos.
Here, I'll do the rest.
But
Oh, okay.
it's not bad. It kind of feels like filler, I guess. Well, I'm not one to say that a lot of the time because I'm not a person that minds filler often.
What? Hey.
What I mean to say is, it's like they're having a boss for the sake of having a boss, because Big doesn't have one otherwise. Just Chaos 6, and you gotta end the story with a boss as well. You can't just end it with a level. At least, Sega doesn't think you can. Of course, Tails' plane was luckily there for Big to take and fly off with. It is questionable how he fit in the plane and how he was able to fly the plane, but whatever. Something that's odd about this version that I think was in the original DX was, as characters are leaving the egg carrier when it explodes, you can see them flying away from it. Like, you can see, I think, Knuckles gliding, Tails carrying Amy away, and Big in the plane flying away. For some reason, they don't show it here, so it's just kind of empty space after the thing crashes. The egg carrier, not the thing. After the egg carrier crashes. But that's the end of Big's playthrough. That was really short. Like, really, really short. I neglected to say where the lure was in the egg carrier. You can go back to it, of course, with the boat that I took as Amy that one time. Well, those 2 times. But the lure is in the area that Amy was imprisoned in. It's in the cell closest to the door, so not the one that Amy was in and not the one that the black Chow egg was in. But yeah, that's Big, done and dusted. Oddly, you know, he didn't give me as much trouble as he gives everyone else. honestly, you shouldn't give you trouble. It's very easy to figure out how to play as Big, and once you do, it's very easy to, you know, find Froggy and get him out of the water. I don't get why people complain about Big. I mean, he is kind of useless, I guess I'll say. Well, that meeting with Knuckles never happened. But he doesn't do anything very important in terms of the story. Froggy has a Chaos Emerald and a tail, but that's about it. He's just chasing Froggy throughout the whole thing, like whereas Sonic and Tails are trying to stop Eggman, Zero's chasing Amy, Knuckles is trying to collect the pieces of the emerald again. Big is just kind of wandering around, and that kind of fits his character, being the innocent, absent-minded person that he is. I don't want to say dumb, because I don't think Big is dumb. I like Big, especially in like Sonic Heroes, where he's a pretty beefy character. Honestly, probably one of my favorite power characters to play as in that game. I forgot to say that I'll put the closed captions in the video so you can see the lyrics of the song. I honestly haven't listened to Big's song all that much. It's called Lazy Days, Living in Paradise in parentheses for some reason. And it's not that bad of a song. It kind of fits Big. The lyrics are a bit weird, but I don't mind it. Like Big, it doesn't really put a damper on anything for me. Just kind of there. I did say this previously, at least I'm pretty sure I did, that Big wasn't really supposed to be in this game. I guess that's the best way to put it. Basically, Sega wanted to create some sort of fishing mechanic thing, and they decided that they're going to put that fishing mechanic thing in Sonic Adventure as a sort of test, I suppose. And I guess it kind of worked out. The test was for another game, I should mention. So Big was created by Sega in order to be fishing. He is fishing. That's his entire essence. I guess that can be used as an argument against Big. Again, showing that he doesn't really belong in the game. But I like Big, alright. He's a cool dude. He's pretty buff, you know. He could probably throw you pretty far, and that would hurt. I don't know where I'm going with this. Anyway, that's this campaign over. The one that everybody dislikes. So, next time on Sonic Adventure, we're going to be starting the last quote-unquote campaign. It's the last one where we get introduced to a new playable character. And that's all I'm going to say about it, although you probably know who the character is.